I'm Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and for years I've been training people how to beat casinos with card counting, and I believe I may have trained more successful card counters than anybody. That does not mean everybody has what it takes to be a successful card counter. And in this video, I'm going to share 5 sure to fail card counters. Like I said, I'm Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship. I was a professional card counter for a few years until I went on to run teams and train everybody up for those teams that beat casinos for about $4 million. And since then, the last decade, I've been training other people how to be successful at card counting. Well, let me tell you about 5 people that I guarantee are not going to make it. And before I share number 5, let me tell you about a dream I just had. In this dream, my father-in-law asks my wife and I to fly his commercial jet, which he doesn't really have a commercial jet, but in the dream he did, to fly it all the way to England to do something for him. And I'm thinking, oh, this is awesome. This is great. Let's do it. We'll leave tomorrow morning. And then all of a sudden it's the next morning and I'm realizing, does the airplane have fuel? And if it doesn't, how do we fuel an airplane? Oh yeah, and I don't know how to fly an airplane, and I don't know how to get to England in an airplane. Well, this is like some card counters. Now imagine if you heard you could make money by flying an airplane, so you watch some YouTube videos, you download some flight simulators and practice them on your phone, and then you say, let me try this with a real plane. You are likely to get yourself killed. Fortunately, card counting is not life and death, but if you want to be successful at it, you need to treat it the same way as if you were training to fly an airplane. You're going to need to learn everything that you're going to need to know to be able to succeed at this. You're going to need to train at home until you're perfect. Then you're going to want to train in the real life environment, like going from flight simulator to flying an airplane, but still at a lower stakes thing. Maybe you got someone in the cockpit. Well, in this scenario, it's going to a casino, practicing low stakes before you put your whole bankroll at risk until you can play perfectly in a casino. And for a lot of advantage players, they're going to want to get their game evaluated by a pro. That's like having some sort of flight test with a co-pilot, rather than just what a lot of people do, which is learn some stuff, practice a little bit, and then head off to the casino to play a losing game and lose their money. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of you if you did this, because I did that too. I practiced a little bit, I read a book, and then I went to the casinos and I spent a couple hundred hours treading water, losing a little bit, until I finally got my game evaluated by a pro and started to have success at this. Now, I want you to have success at this, so do yourself a huge favor and learn until you're perfect. Now, the bottom line is you are sure to fail at card counting if you do not master the skills to perfection. This game is hard to beat even as a perfect card counter. We're talking about a 1 to 2% edge. Until you master the skills, you should not be putting your money at risk. The number 4 sure to fail card counter is someone with an excessive fear of backoffs. Now, nobody likes backoffs. And casinos definitely don't like winning players, but a reality to the job is because casinos don't want winners, they're going to back you off when they know you have a winning game. I mentioned in one of our other recent videos that when I surveyed all of the APs at Blackjack Apprenticeship, they experience a back off about 1 in every 76 hours. It's more like 1 in every 25 hours if they're a high stakes professional. But the reality is there are some back offs. It's not all the time, but it happens. Regardless of the frequency, if you have an unchecked fear of back offs, it's going to lead to not aggressive enough bet spreads. So not betting enough when the count is good to overcome the house edge. It's going to lead to cover plays that are going to kill your EV. And it's going to lead you to backing yourself off by either leaving the first time the phone rings or just not going to the casino because you're afraid of a back off. Look, it's like when my friends and I skateboarded in high school. It's going to involve being asked to leave from time to time. And while I'm not trying to belittle anyone that realizes this is not for them, the reality is advantage play comes with some rejection when casinos say, hey, we don't want you here. And if that's too much for you, then you're not going to make it as a card counter. The 3rd sure to fail card counter is what I call the pound foolish, penny wise AP. So this person might technically be able to play perfectly, but something is going to get in the way of them having sustained profits. The most common way that this plays out is from their betting. Either you're overbetting, in which case your risk is way too high, and I've talked to plenty of people that they're losing, so they just start betting more, or they're on a losing streak, they don't resize their betting, and it catches up to them, and they blow through their bankroll because they're overbetting it. The other way is underbetting, where you're afraid to push those bets out because of the heat that comes, or you just want risk so low that you're betting small amounts and you're not really generating enough EV for it to be worth your time. Another pound foolish but penny wise player is someone that is generating EV at the tables and then giving it away. Maybe they're tipping away. I've known card counters that tipped away their entire edge, or they're just spending it in other places. And of course, we're making money at the tables to spend it elsewhere. It's not to be like Scrooge McDuck and have a vault full of coins. But the point is, if you're not protecting your bankroll, if you're spending all of your profits elsewhere, then you are not prepared for those losing streaks, or you're not growing your bankroll in a way that you can really make any serious money as a card counter. The number 2 sure to fail card counter is someone whose emotions are greater than their self-control. The way I was thinking about this is Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Now imagine Bruce Banner is a great card counter. The Hulk is a terrible blackjack player. If Bruce Banner does not keep his emotions under control and he turns into the Hulk, it's not going to end well. And I've known card counters like this, where they start losing and they flip a gasket. They start playing poorly, they start blowing up at the dealer, they just cannot handle the emotions of all the variants of the game, the back-offs. I've talked to people that when they get confronted for a back-off, they flip out, they start yelling at the casino patrons, and this person is not gonna make it as a long-term advantage player. So while this point is primarily about not going on tilt at the tables, another way it can work out is if someone is overly optimistic or overly pessimistic as an advantage player. The overly optimistic card counter isn't emotionally prepared for the inevitable downswings of the game. The overly pessimistic card counter is going to burn out because the glass is always half empty in their minds. But for someone to have sustained success as an advantage player or card counter is someone that can control their emotions. As a friend put it, don't let the highs get you too high, don't let the lows get you too low. Sure, you can have a good day and be happy about it. You can have a bad day and lament it, but you've got to keep that in check. As Warren Buffett put it, if you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your money. And the number 1 sure to fail card counter is the card counter who is unwilling to deal with reality. Now, this is the person that says things to me like,
I always lose at the table when there are poor players there.
The casino's cheating me.
I'm the most unlucky card counter in the world. Card counting simply doesn't work.
A good example of this was, there was a comment recently on a Blackjack Apprenticeship video where this guy said, well, card counting only works if you have a massive bankroll. And this person claims that they lost over $100,000 over the years in $1,000 to $3,000 increments. They kept going to the casino with $1,000 to $3,000 and losing, and over the long period, they lost $100,000. My response to this guy, dude, I'm not hiding the math behind bankroll management. I put videos, blog posts, we have betting software for this stuff. The problem isn't the size of the bankroll. The problem is your bankroll management. And no, you don't need a massive bankroll. There are Blackjack Apprenticeship members that have low risk with $3,000, $5,000 bankrolls because they know how to manage it properly. If you've lost $100,000, you clearly are not managing your bankroll properly, and the problem is this guy's not willing to consider that he is the problem. He has to blame card counting or that you need this massive bankroll rather than dealing with the reality of the situation. I would bet $100,000 of my own money that he's playing improperly, overbetting his bankroll, or most likely both. Colin, what's your point? Well, first off, this kind of victim mentality is really dangerous for yourself, both at the blackjack tables and in life. My personal advice is to be really careful about making excuses that deflect any responsibility away from yourself and really try to focus on the reality of a situation. Secondly, math is math. Anything that you are doing that cannot be proven by the scientific method or computer simulations is antithetical to the way an advantage player thinks. And it will catch up to you. The math of card counting works if you perfect your game, you manage your bankroll properly, and you get in the hours. All right, leave a comment below if you've fallen for any of these or if you feel like I left any out. And if you want to learn more, you can subscribe below. You can check out blackjackapprenticeship.com or watch some of our other YouTube videos here.